Hello students. So in the last session we have discussed different mechanical properties and technological properties. So in this session we are going to discuss various testing methods of materials. So what we have discussed in the last sessions, just we will look back into those things. If you see here, so in the last sessions we have discussed the characteristics of materials. So characteristics of materials are nothing but properties. These things we have discussed in the previous sessions. So that means properties. So those are nothing but characteristics of materials. So we are having different types of properties: chemical properties, physical properties, mechanical properties, and dimensional properties. Later we have discussed in detail about mechanical properties. So what about mechanical properties? What is the meaning of mechanical properties we have studied? So mechanical properties are nothing but it is the characteristic behavior of the material under the influence of external load. So when you applied external load on a material, how it behaves, those things we have studied in the previous sessions. Okay. So these things we have studied in the previous sessions. Mechanical properties are very, very important, and we should able to define all the mechanical properties, and we should able to explain all the mechanical properties, which gives a very good knowledge for a mechanical engineer. Okay, so what we are going to discuss in this session, see here. So in this session what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss testing of materials. So here we are going to discuss testing of materials. So what is, why we have to do, why we have to conduct tests, and how many types of tests are there. So those things we are going to discuss in this session. So why we have to do test? First thing we should know. Why we should know the test? Because to find out the mechanical properties, we have to perform some tests, because we are using these materials in different applications. Whether the material is suitable for that application, whether the material meets the service requirements of that application, we should know. So how we will know how much value of strength it is having, how much value of hardness it is having, we should know prior to design. Without knowing these values, we are unable to use those materials in the design. That means for that application. So for that purpose, we have to conduct different experiments to find out the mechanical properties. So that's why, for example, if you take a strength, so strength of the material by conducting various tests. So strength means different types of strengths are there: tensile strength, compression strength, shear strength, bending strength. All these things can be found out by using, we can find by using different tests. And here we are going to discuss two types of test, that is destructive test and a non-destructive test. So what is meant by destructive test, and what are the things we have to concentrate on the destructive test, and what is meant by non-destructive test, and what are the things generally we will follow in the non-destructive test. These things we will discuss in the coming session. Okay, so here in this session we are going to discuss why we have to go for a test. Okay, what is the need, and later classification of different types of tests. So here we are having destructive test and non-destructive test. So next, so if you see this one, so already we have discussed strength. So we can define strength. So definition of strength is, it is the ability of material to resist loads without failure or without fracture. So the same definition it is given here. See here. So strength is the basic property of all solid materials. So strength is the basic property for all the solid materials. So strength is the basic mechanical property of all the solid materials. Strength is the ability of material to resist loads without failure. Already we have discussed this definition. We may have different types of strengths, tensile strength, compression strength, shear strength. But what is meant by strength? It is the ability of material to resist loads without fracture or failure. Without failing, it should be able to bear that load. That is known as its strength. How you will express this strength? Already we have discussed this one. Load per unit area. So strength is expressed in terms of load per unit area. Okay. So what are the general units for load per unit area? Newtons per mm square or kilonewtons per mm square. So strength can be expressed in terms of newtons per mm square or kilonewtons per mm square. That is nothing but load per unit area. Okay. I'm repeating once again. So what is strength? It is the basic mechanical property of any solid material. So how you will define strength? Strength is the ability of a material to resist loads without failure. Okay. How you will express? How you will express this strength? So you can express this strength in terms of load per unit area. You can express this strength load per unit area. That is nothing but newtons per mm square or kilonewtons per mm square. Newtons per mm square or kilonewtons per mm square. Okay, if you see in the next slide. So this introduction. So what we are going to discuss this introduction. So why we have to perform tests? Okay. So and what are the different types of tests that can be done? That means what are the different mechanical properties we can evaluate or we can calculate or we can find from the tests. Okay. See here, I will explain. See, the component designed to sustain certain loads. Okay. So to meet the service requirements, that means whenever you design a component, what will happen? Whenever you design a component, it should have. So in this introduction, what we are going to discuss. So why we have to do test? Why we have to perform test? Okay. So if you take any material and if you want to design a component by using that material, so we should understand that the material should be able to withstand the loads that are going to act on that component. So what it is, it should have necessary mechanical strength. It should have necessary mechanical strength to satisfy the service requirements. For example, if you want to make bearings, so ball bearings, it should roll. So what property it should have? It should have hardness because it should not wear out easily. So what is the service requirement here? So the bearing should work properly. If the bearing wants to work properly, that means it should not wear out easily. So it should have hardness values, more hardness values. So we have to, that the service requirement is it should not wear out easily. The function, the bearing function, the bearing should not undergo for malfunctioning. So it should have, what is the mechanical strength? Mechanical strength in the sense, mechanical property it should have high hardness value. So it should have high hardness value to sustain such loads. For example, if you take some compression load, you take a component which is acted upon by compression loads. So it should not fail under compression. So many compressive forces are acting on that one. So it should not fail under compressive forces. So what it should have? It should have more compressive strength. If it is elongating like this, the force is acting in this direction, then which type of loading this one? Tensile. So it should not fail means it should have more tensile strength. More tensile strength. If you see your cast iron, cast iron is used for lathe beds. Why we are using cast iron for lathe beds? Because it is having more compressive strength. It is not having good tensile strength, but is having good compression strength. So by using this test only, we can find out which material is having how much strength, whether it is tensile, compression, or shear. So that's why we have to go for doing test. Okay. So by using this one only, by using this test results only, we can use that material to have sufficient strength to meet the service requirements. So in other words, what we can say, here we are going to find out different mechanical properties like strength, in that strength, tensile, compressive or shear, and hardness, toughness. So these things can be determined by conducting these type of stresses, these type of tests. Okay, so we can find out all the mechanical properties by conducting different tests. By conducting tests only, we can find out the values for the mechanical properties of for different materials. By taking consideration of those values only, we will choose the material for our applications. So that's why we have to do the test. So this is introduction to our testing of materials. Okay. So this is classification of tests. So how you will classify classification of tests? Here we are having two types of tests. So testing of materials can be broadly classified into two types. First one is destructive testing, and the second one is non-destructive test. Destructive test and non-destructive test. What is the first one? Destructive test. What is the second one? Non-destructive test. So we are having destructive test and we are having non-destructive test. What is meant by destructive test? Destruction. What is the meaning for destruction? So breaking, fracturing. So here we are fracturing the specimen to get the result. That is destructive test. So what we are going to do here, we are taking a specimen and we are applying some load on it. How much load you are going to apply? Until it fractures. So when it fractures, then the reading will be taken. We can say that up to this load, it can save. If it exceeds, what will happen? It fractures. That means the strength will be determined by using this type of destructive test. So here, if you see here, so the test specimen has to fracture here. The test specimen has undergo fracture. It should fail. Then only we can find out the value. So at what load it can fail. So under loading and no longer further useful. After test, we are unable to use it again because reuse is not possible for a destructive specimen. It is used only for one. It is used for only for one test, that is only once. So once it is used, it will become scrap. But from that test specimen only, we will get the test results. Okay, which is useful for further applications. Okay, so I am repeating once again. So testing of materials can be broadly classified into two types: destructive testing, non-destructive testing. So destructive testing, as the name indicates, destruction of the material will take place. That is means by fracture of the specimen will take place. After fracture only we will get the test values. Based on this test values only we can use that material into different applications. So after the specimen, after the test, the specimen will not be used for further test because it is not reusable. It is only once it is used for one test. Okay, so that is the main concept of this destructive testing. Destructive testing. Okay, so next. So in destructive testing, what we are going to find out? See here. In destructive testing, if you see, by conducting destructive test on different materials, we are going to find out mechanical properties. We should remember this point. From the destructive test, what we are going to find out? We are going to find out the values for different mechanical properties. Okay, from the destructive test, we are going to find out the mechanical properties. What are the mechanical properties generally we are having? We are having strength, toughness, hardness, stress and strain. So these can be derived from your compression test or tensile test. From that one, you can find out stress strain diagram. From the stress strain diagram, we can find out stress and strain. So indirectly, we can find out stress and strain. Okay. So here in strength, we are having different types of strengths: tensile strength, compression strength, and shear strength and bending strength, torsional strength. So many types of strengths are there. Okay, these things can be found out by using this destruction test. And toughness. What is meant by toughness? The amount of energy absorbed up to fracture. If it is up to elastic limit, then it is resilience. If it is up to fracture, then we can call it as toughness. And the hardness values for different materials we can find out. What is meant by hardness? It is the ability of material to resist indentation, scratching, penetration, and cut. So stress and strain. So everyone knows what is stress and what is strain. Okay. So stress is nothing but load per unit area. Strain, change in length to original length. So these things can be calculated. These things can be obtained by conducting destructive types of tests on the materials. Okay. So classification of destructive test. So we are taking destructive test into consideration. In that one, we are again classifying based on different parameters. The first parameter is type of load applied. See here. So here we are classifying the destructive test based on nature of load applied. So which type of load you are applying? Which type of load you are applying? First one, in that one, we are having static test. Static test. So what is meant by static loading? What is meant by static loading, we should understand. So in static loading, the load is applied gradually increasing. It is increasing, but gradually increasing. So load is applied on the specimen gradually increasing, gradually increasing. So this type of static test generally we are having is tension test, compression test, shear test, hardness test, bending test, torsion test. Just now we have discussed all these things: tension, compression, shear, hardness, bending, and torsion. So what we are going to do here, we will load the component. We will load the component. That means we will apply the loads on the component in the increasing manner, but gradually, slowly. That type of loading is known as static loading. So by using this static loading, we will find out tension test results, compression test results, shear test results, hardness test, bending, and torsion test. This is first classification, that is static test. I'm repeating once again. How we are classifying this destructive test? Destructive tests are again classified based on the type of load applied. Which type of load you are going to apply? First one is static test. What is meant by static test? Static test is nothing but applying the load gradually increasing. That means it is increasing but gradually increasing. Such type of loads are known as static loads. By using the static load, we can conduct tests for tension, compression, shear, hardness, bending, and torsion. This is regarding static type of testing. The second category of destructive test is impact testing. So for the first one is static testing, where the load is applied gradually increasing. Here the second one is impact or dynamic testing. So what we are doing here, we are applying the load suddenly, or shock load. Sudden loads are applied here, whereas in static, gradually it is applied. If you see here, shock loads, sudden loads. So here we will apply sudden loads to find out the impact strength. So here impact tests are nothing but to find out the impact strength of the material. So to find out the impact strength, we are having Charpy test, IJAR test. So Charpy test and IJAR test are used to find out the impact strength of material. Okay. So in the competitive examinations, they will ask which testing procedure is used to find out impact strength, Charpy or IJAR. We are going to discuss in detail in the coming session regarding Charpy test and IJAR test. And the third one is cyclic test. Cyclic test. So what is meant by cyclic or fatigue test? So already we have discussed what is meant by fatigue. Fatigue is nothing but when a component is subjected to repeated and reversal type of loads, it will failure below its ultimate strength. That is known as fatigue. So to find out that fatigue strength, at what cycle it can withstand, that can be find out by using this cyclic or fatigue test. So here in fatigue test, if you see, the load is repeatedly varies both magnitude and direction. So not only magnitude, but direction also. Sometimes it may be compressive, sometimes it may be tensile. So both direction and magnitude will change in this cyclic test of repeated and reversal. So how many cycles it happened? So in this test, we are going to find out fatigue strength of that material. Okay, so example, this fatigue test. And the fourth one is creep test. So what is creep? So it is one of the mechanical property already we have discussed in the previous sessions. What is creep? Creep is nothing but it's a when you apply constant load, there is a slow and progressive deformation is there. So when you apply constant load, there will be a progressive and slow deformation, permanent deformation will take place. That property is known as creep, already we have discussed. So here, what he is doing, so already we have discussed this creep plays a vital role at high temperatures, at elevated temperatures. When the temperature is more, the deformation will be more. So this can be tested at high elevated temperatures. So based on the temperature, how the creep will be. So at what temperature, how much creep you are going to face it. That means you are going to get it. These things we will study in the creep test. Okay. So here, if you see, the specimen is kept on the initial load and effects of varying high temperatures. The load is initial. Initial load means constant load here. So you will keep some load initially and you will not change that load, but varying temperatures are varied and stresses are measured. So based on that one, how much deformation, that means slow and progressive deformation takes place, we will find out by using this creep test. Okay, repeating once again. So first we have discussed static test, that is there we are applying slow and progressive, that is, we are applying slowly increasing load, gradually increasing load we are applying, that is static load. Here in the second category, we are having impact or dynamic loading. Impact or dynamic loading means sudden loading or shock loading, we can say. So when sudden loads are applied on a material, how it behaves, those things can be found out by using this impact test. So what are the two tests, impact test we are having? Charpy test and IJAR test. And the third one is cyclic or fatigue test. So what is meant by this cyclic test? So in cyclic test, the force varies both in magnitude and direction. That means repeatedly reversal direction. Repeatedly reversal forces, reversal loads. That pattern is repeated. That means the cycle is repeated, but in direction may be different. Okay, that type of loading is known as cyclic loading. What is the example for fatigue? So here we are going to fatigue. What is the how much endurance limit and what is the fatigue strength? We are going to find out this by using this fatigue test. And the fourth one is creep test. So what is meant by creep? Under steady load, slow and progressive deformation with respect to time. So this plays a vital role at highly elevated temperatures. So that's why we will keep the load constant and we will apply the load gradually. We will vary the temperature. The load is constant. The load is constant, but we are increasing the temperature. So how the material behaves, we will study. So how the deformation, progressive deformation will be. So those things can be studied in creep test. And next, non-destructive testing. Okay. So next one is non-destructive testing. So coming to non-destructive test. So here we are having a non-destructive test. In this one, in this non-destructive test, we are not going to fracture the component. We are not going to fracture the specimen that is used for testing purpose. If you see here, so non-destructive test is an examination of an object in any manner that will not impair future usefulness. That means it can be reused, it can be used again, it can be used for the application intended. Okay, so it will not become a scrap. So it is non-destructive test. We are not going to fracture that component in non-destructive testing. So future usefulness will not be restricted. In this method, it is a detect to the faulty material. So what we are going to do in non-destructive testing? In non-destructive testing, what we are going to do, we are going to find out the defects of the materials. Here we are going to find out the defects of the materials. Okay, so if you take any machine component or the product, if you test, if you go for the NDT test, non-destructive testing, then you are going to find out the defects. So why we have to do this NDT test? What is the use of doing this NDT test? Okay, because NDT is conducted to make products more reliable by finding out defects. If you find out the defects, if there is no defect, the reliability will be more. If it is there is no defect, there is a less possibility of failure, that is safe. So if it is safe, so automatically it is economical. How we are saying it is economical? Because we are not going for the destruction of the component also. So we are using that component for future use. That means it is economical. And if it is safe and if it is reliable, so automatically it will be beneficially economical. So economical also, it is beneficial. So that's why we are using this NDT test. I'm repeating once again. What is NDT test? In NDT test, the specimen is subjected to different types of examinations where the fracture will not occur, where the destruction of the component will not occur. That means it can be used for further applications. That means the usefulness of the component will not be restricted. So what we are going to do? Because of these various examinations conducted on the component, we are going to find out the various defects of the materials. So what is the use of finding out these defects? If you find out the defects, if you are having defects, it can be scrapped. If you find out and it is known that it is not having any defects, then the reliability will be increased. If it is a defect-free component, it will be safe to use. And if these two are satisfied, then it is economically feasible. So for that purpose, we are going to perform non-destructive testing. Coming to next slide. See here. So what is happening in this non-destructive testing? Here, increased reliability improves public image of the manufacturer, which leads to greater sales and profits. How to understand this point? So if the component reliability is more, what happens in the market? The image of the manufacturer will be good. That means the product is very reliable, so we can buy it. So what happening? The image good. That means the manufacturer's image will be improved. So the sales will be automatically increased. If the sales increase, what happened? Automatically profit will be increased. So in this way, generally these manufacturers will test non-destructive, they will do non-destructive testing to get a good reliable products, which will improve their image in the market. If they have good image in the market, automatically their sales will be good. If the sales are good, automatically profit will be good. So that's why manufacturers See here, manufacturers use tests to improve and control the manufacturing process. So how they are using this test? So they are conducting different examination or different test, non-destructive test. So how they are using those results in the manufacturing process? So where the defect you are getting, how the defect you are getting, so they will analyze and they will control and they will improve the manufacturing process. So where you are going to get the defect, by which process you are going to get the defect, in which area you are going to get the defect. So they will find out those areas and they will improve those areas, or they will control the parameters to get a reliable product. So in this way, these non-destructive tests are very, very, very useful. I'm repeating once again, why we have to do this NDT test. So NDT test is used to find out the defects. So if you are producing defect-free components, what will happen? The image of the manufacturer will be good in the market. So if the product is reliable, automatically more customers will buy your product. So the sales will be improved. If the sales are good, what will happen? Profit will be improved. So indirectly, you will get huge profits. So if you are selling reliable products, you will get more profits. How you are achieving those reliable products because of this NDT test. Okay, but how they are using these NDT results in the manufacturing process? They are conducting these NDT tests and they are taking the results. So based on result, they are analyzing that where the defect is occurring, in which process it is occurring, by which parameter is occurring. So what they will do, they will improve the manufacturing process, or they will control the process parameters while manufacturing. In this way, they will get a reliable product. So that's why we have to conduct non-destructive testing to avoid defects to get reliable products. Next, see. If you see here, so NDT is employed if you see here, NDT is employed for finished products to determine internal defects such as blowholes. So NDT is useful for finished product to test the quality. Quality testing, we can say, quality testing means to find out the defects, if any defect is there. Okay, so finished products we can test to find out the internal defects. If any internal defect is there in the material, such as blowholes, slag inclusions, other material is included, surface defects, any surface problems, cracks, it is also surface defect, porosity, any holes inside it, any holes, blowholes are inside holes, porosity means outside on the surface you may have some holes. So without destructing the product. So in NDT, the beauty of NDT is without destructing the component, we are going to find out the various defects. There may be surface defects or internal defects. So you may have surface defects like cracks, porosity. You may have internal defects like blowholes, slag inclusions. These things can be easily find out by using this NDT, non-destructive testing. So if you see here, so what are the different types of NDT tests are there? It is ranging from normal visual inspection to highly sophisticated techniques such as radiography. highly advanced techniques, we are having radiography, all these things. So visual inspection, by naked eye we can say that what is happening to the component, whether it is good or bad, that is visual inspection. Radiography, we are using some rays to find out the defects. So that is a sophisticated latest techniques. So we are using this NDT from basic level to advanced level to find out various defects. I'm repeating once again. So NDT is meant for to find out the internal and surface crack, surface defects. So what are the internal defects? Generally, you are having blowholes, sagging inclusions, and surface defects like cracks, porosity, all these things. So without destructing the material, without destructing the component, we are able to find out those defects. And for finding out the defects, we are using a variety of techniques from the basic level to advanced level. Basic level, we are using visual inspection. To the advanced level, we are using sophisticated techniques like radiography. So all these things, all these techniques are used to find out the defects. We are not destructing the components. You have to remember that point. We are not destructing the component, but we are finding out the defects. That's why it is very, very useful in the manufacturing process. Next, NDT testing. See, already we have discussed what is meant by NDT testing. Again, we are having some points here. See, these tests are used to determine internal and surface defects. Just now I told you. It is used to find out the defects, whether it is internal or surface defect. Okay. So without destructing the material, without breaking the material. So what are the different types of tests we are having? Already we have discussed from low level to high level. That means basic level of testing to sophisticated level of testing. That is, see, if you see here, you are having radiography, you are having ultrasonic test, magnetic test, liquid penetrant test, spark test, and visual inspection. So all this comes under non-destructive test. Radiography test, ultrasonic test, magnetic test, liquid penetrant test, and spark test. Okay. So in this non-destructive testing, we are going to find out internal as well as surface defects without destructing the material. So for that one, what are the tests we are generally using? We are using various types of techniques. First one is the radiography, ultrasonic testing, magnetic testing, and liquid penetrant test, and spark test, and visual inspection. Based on the defect you are going to find out, we can use any of the technique what we have mentioned. And so next, see here. What will happen in radiography? So what is meant by radiography? We are not discussing in detail, just basic things I am going to give here. So what is meant by radiography? So in radiography, we are having, in radiography, we are using X-rays and gamma rays for detecting the surface defects. Surface defects, we can find out surface defect by using X-rays and gamma rays. So the defect appear on the photographic film. So it is recorded on a film, photographic film. Okay. So by passing those rays to that material. So what we are doing, we are sending the X-rays or gamma rays to the material to be tested, and later those rays to be fall on the photographic film, and which can be developed later, and based on that one we can see which type of defect is there inside. Okay, so ultrasonic testing. What we will do in the ultrasonic test? In ultrasonic test, we will send the ultrasonic waves through the material, and later we will study the electric impulses fed from the cathode oscilloscope. That means the when you send the ultrasonic waves and you will get back the waves back, so those waves can be sent to the your oscilloscope, and later you will study the oscilloscope results, and from that one we'll find out which type of defect is there and where it is, the location, exact location also we can find out by using this ultrasonic test. Okay, so with this one we are completing, we are closing this session.